I think some of you may know that feeling when suddenly you play one specific song over and over again, realizing the magic. This is what happened to me recently with ABBA's Sitting in the Palmtree from their second album Waterloo. I always liked this song. There were times when I loved it, but this was a complete rediscovery. What is it that makes this song? What does ABBA feel about the song? And how did they experience the recording of Sitting in the Palmtree? In today's video, we will explore the recording itself, the music and story of Sitting in the Palmtree, and everything that happened to this song. Let's take a deep dive into one of the many fascinating album tracks from ABBA. Hey, so this week we are celebrating 50 years of ABBA's Waterloo album. The album is unique for its various styles and genres. Over the years and with every album, ABBA would still have an ongoing variety of many influences, but they became more refined to conceal different musical styles and work them into pure ABBA pop. On their early albums, the different genres are more overt, which in turn is not only charming, but reveals the unexpected sides of ABBA. The second track from the Waterloo album, Sitting in the Palmtree, takes us into exotic Caribbean rhythms and reggae-style arrangements. And for that, ABBA's backing band was an important part. It takes us back to December 1973 and Metronome Studio. One day after the recording of Waterloo, the final two songs recorded for the album were Hasta Mañana and Sitting in the Palmtree. ABBA had their core players of musicians, Benny on keyboards, Janne Schaffer on guitar, Rutger Gunnarsson on bass, and Ola Brunkert on drums. This band gives us an important feature of the tremendous ABBA sound. Despite an overall roughness of this album, the playing of every instrument is precise, tight, and perfected. The inspiration for the Caribbean style and reggae arrangement came from guitarist Janne Schaffer, who worked with Bob Marley 2 years earlier. What I love so much about Sitting in the Palmtree are the vibes, the mood, the overall sounds, with bass, drums, and exotic percussions. One of the best elements to me is Rutger Gunnarsson's bass playing, and especially the interaction of his bass and Ola Brunkert's drums. Let's listen to an isolated excerpt highlighting the bass. Everything is short, rhythmic and minimalistic, tropical vibes, and on top of all that we have the unfolding of beautifully layered singing vocals. Agneta and Frida's angelic voices and Björn's terrific lead performance. The lyrics are about a guy who gets abandoned by his girlfriend and decides to climb up to the top of a palm tree and remain there until she tells him she really loves him. The lyrics are basically quite silly. For me, this innocent and playful nature kind of matches the sound of the song, easygoing. But still, we have serious melodies, serious singing and delivery, and exactly that contrast makes it all so enchanting. Sitting in the Palmtree also has the important contributions from Malando Gassama. He plays percussion here, more precisely congas and the Latin American instrument guiro. This is the sound which is embedded into the unique soundscape of the song. This was the first time that Malando Gassama played on an ABBA recording. He was famous in several African countries and became a prominent session musician in Sweden in the early 70s. He also worked with Frida for her 1975 solo album Ensam and continued to work with ABBA on every album until Voulez-Vous. In 1977, he joined them on tour to Europe and Australia. We can see him in ABBA the movie. ABBA's sound engineer Michael Bidretov said this about Malando Gassama. We noticed what an incredible difference it made to the groove just to have him there. Today, Björn and Benny are still quite fond of the song, and they seem to have always been. It was one of 4 songs promoting the album on a 7-inch EP single in Bolivia. In November 1974, The song was broadcast on American Army Reserve Radio when Frida and Benny promoted the album on The Nightbird.
That's ABBA and Sitting in the Palm Tree from the Waterloo album, and it sure is a happy sound, which is, I think, part of the success of the group. Don't you think, Benny?
Yes, I think so.
I think we need that kind of happiness in music, and there really isn't enough of it.
In 1976, Sitting in the Palm Tree was included on ABBA's Greatest Hits album, The Very Best of ABBA. Even more so, it was one of many songs from the Waterloo album that ABBA performed live on their concert tour in 1975. In 1977, it was the only song from that album, together with the title track, which ABBA included in their live shows. The live performance was professionally recorded in 1977 at the London Royal Albert Hall and on all Australian concerts. Unfortunately, this song has never been released as a live version. All we have are audience recordings. The beautiful contrast of seriousness and silly nature of the song that I described before was kind of extended with Björn's introduction to the song. He told the audience that this song was based on a true story that happened to guitarist Lasse Welander. This turned out to be a complete fantasy joke. Today, Björn can't recall how he got the idea for the lyrics. The live version from 1977 also has some nice features. It seems to be the only song ever by ABBA that was performed live with an actual fade-out. The band and singing gets quieter and quieter until the audience applause comes in. At the end of the live version, Agneta and Frida added some beautiful counterpart vocals. Let's listen to this audience recording from Perth in Australia.
Genie, genie on my mind. Genie, genie, you're so. Genie, genie on my mind. Genie, genie, you're so.
That's the story of Sitting in the Palm Tree, ABBA's venture into tropical reggae feel and Caribbean vibes. What do you think of Sitting in the Palm Tree? Let me know your feelings and thoughts in the comments below. This video was one of our special episodes highlighting and celebrating ABBA's Waterloo album. There will be a full-length documentary coming about the entire recording process, the album and songs, and more secret surprises. I hope you enjoyed the video. Alright, until then, hey do!